Hi, I'm Kim Kelly. Watch us next on TSN.
The weather is warming up here in Winnipeg. The ice is breaking on the Red River. We're here for the Ford Worlds on TSN. Dorte Holm is skipping Denmark in her second World Championship. The silver medal winner from '98 in Nagano is off to a slow start, though. She's lost her first two. Two years ago in Lausanne, Switzerland, it finally came true for Colleen Jones. She won a World Championship. Now she's back again and looking for another world title here in Winnipeg.
They are two of the most familiar rivers in Canada, and they meet here at the Forks in Winnipeg, the Red River and the Assiniboine. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Winnipeg and TSN's continuing coverage of the Ford World Curling Championships. And today, the Forks National Park has become a showpiece of downtown Winnipeg. There are the beautiful river walkways. There are a couple of museums, including the Manitoba Children's Museum. There's a market, and the Winnipeg Gold Eyes. They play their baseball at a stadium, which is all part of the park. Coming up, it is draw 3 for the Canadian women's team of Colleen Jones, trying to make it 3 straight wins as we go to the Winnipeg Arena and join Linda and Ray. And did you know that the word Winnipeg is Cree for, no, not red wine, Ray, but muddy waters?
Victor, I know it's hard for you to believe, but I actually did know that. And the Forks is a great addition to our city. It's just beautiful where the two rivers come together, and so many people spend a lot of time there. Linda, can anybody stop Colleen Jones?
They're playing so well, and if you're the opponent and you've seen what they did day one, you're hoping that you're going to have a better day two. If you talk about Denmark, they did not start well yesterday. But let's look at Dorte Holm and her experience at the international level. She's medaled 3 times. At the second position, however, one was an Olympic medal. This year, silver medalist at the Europeans, and that was as a skip. But yesterday, what a terrible start. She was under 50% in the first game, and her third, Melina Kraus, also had a bad start. To me, the key is Dorte Holm as the skip. She is a great shooter, technically very sound, but she likes rocks in play. And if you don't execute, of course, you're going to get burned. She has to play well.
And it's so nice to have you back, because the only stat we had yesterday was the score. Colleen Jones, they look very, very strong. And the thing about Colleen that you really have to admire, that it's such a unit, it's such a team. And I think for sure, yesterday she showed a little bit more confidence in the ice than she has early in events, and she put some offensive play with corner guards. So to beat her, you're going to have to be at your very, very best.
The Canadian team, Colleen Jones on the ice against Denmark and Dorte Holm.
The 2003 Ford World Curling Championships from Winnipeg, Manitoba are brought to you by Karcher. You'll look for things to clean. By Nokia, official wireless phone of the Season of Champions. And by Ford, built for life in Canada.
And on this Sunday afternoon, we welcome you inside the Winnipeg Arena, day 2 of the Ford Worlds. Draw 3 for the ladies. They'll play just once, and our featured game is on Sheet B. So let's read the ice now with Ray. It's brought to you by Ford, built for life in Canada. And Hans Vutrick has made a beauty, hasn't he?
Oh, it's fantastic, Vic. And like the little girl with the curl, you got it around that center guard, about 4.5 to 5 feet. It really moves big time around the corner guard, and lots of play. Not quite as much with the 4-rock rule, but around that corner guard, 4.5. Again, it may go to 5. From the outside in, it holds a bit, but it'll go 4. So you can get behind anything. Now, yesterday they fooled a little bit with the thermostat, and we saw some flattening out a little bit in this area, so you have to be careful with your brushing, and for sure that's clear. When you throw the weight, it runs straight. But it's a great surface, and the houses are alive, and you love that, Victor.
Let's meet these two championship teams. The Danish team out of Hvidovre, their lead is Lisa Richardson, the native of Schenectady, New York. Denise Dupont, Malena Kraus, and the skip is Dorte Holm. And the Canadian champions, Nancy Delahunt, Marianne Way, Kim Kelly, and a 5-time Canadian champion, Colleen Jones, out of the Mayflower Curling Club in Halifax. Denmark will play the red stones, Canada the yellow, and it means that Denmark and Dorte Holm will have the hammer in this first end as Colleen Jones makes her way out, taps the top of the 4, and we're ready to begin play here. Draw number 3 for the ladies, and the Canadian lead is Nancy Delahunt.
Well, Ray, you said it best, I think. Nancy Delahunt, when you see the numbers, these players on the Canadian team all near the top or at the top of the positions as far as shooting percentages go, and they look comfortable out there. That's what you were saying. You just think they look ready to play.
I couldn't agree more. They just look so confident and so at ease. So, and that's, you know, sometimes we have seen them kind of start at a round robin, not quite, you know, as kind of relaxed as they are now. And you could see it yesterday.
I found something you said, Linda, to Ray, interesting, that Dorte Holm likes rocks in play, likes stones in play. Doesn't that work to her advantage against somebody like Colleen Jones, who doesn't, and some teams who don't like to mix it up? Doesn't that work to Holm's advantage?
Absolutely, Vic. You're absolutely correct that the strategy, the game plan is the way to approach it. The problem is, yesterday they didn't make the shots. They clearly did not execute well, and that's why they lost both of their games. And they gave up big scores as well. Colleen has been scoring nicely, hasn't taken big risks, Ray, but they've made all their shots. So it's just a contrast in teams and how they're playing right now.
And we have a message for the families that we know. Ken Bagnell came to us just before the game. He said, you might give the message to the families of the Canadian team, wherever they may be, because we don't know where they are. And they're someplace watching this game on television, so the team says hi, and they're looking forward to your arrival wherever you may be.
Yeah, well, again, yesterday, you know the story now. They had to, in fact, shut down Toronto Airport again yesterday. In fact, some of our production crew just arrived this morning, so 2 days later. That's how bad the weather was.
Wow. Expected start to the game. Even though Dorte Holm prefers rocks in play, she does not normally in the first end take big risks. So the first stone comes in, and that will be the takeout. And if we talk ice times, hog to hog, remember we're measuring that hack weight is about 11.5, draw weight 14.5. And if you're going to play those tap backs with hack weight, you get a lot different curl, lots of curl with hack, very little with the 9-second hit. So you do have to watch how you brush and how you ice those shots. And those ice times, of course, brought to you by Karcher. Marianne may be the one player who's struggling a little bit on this team. As a matter of fact, it's kind of surprising, although it's only after 2 games, Ray. But the top second so far is Yana Nekrasova of the Russian team. And she so far has an average of 85%. Very good numbers. I'll fit in as many stats as I can since I couldn't be here last night.
Right.
I worked the morning draw instead.
Well, we missed you, we have to be honest. We thought about you,
once
or twice.
Good to know I missed.
Det kan være, den stopper. Ej, det gør den. Nej. Hvorfor? Yep.
Godt, Denise.
So the corner goes up from Denmark. They have the hammer to start play in this first.
So that is typical. Dorte Holm wasn't comfortable when the first stone of the end thrown by Team Canada was in the house, but now that the house is open, the corner guard does go up, and Marianne Way called for the come around to defend that position.
Yeah, she could peel it off and defend it that way, but the key to this shot, of course, is to keep it in front of the tee line, and top 12 foot, top 8 foot is fine. It's one of those situations where it's first there, first served.
Certainly is. It's not 5, right? Yeah.
A lot of movement, and that really finished hard.
We were mentioning last evening, Linda, that reading the ice becomes so important now because the movement dramatically changed. It got more. In fact, they were going out to the edge of the 12 to get to the other side of the center line.
And that's why I was saying, if you go to those tap backs, which can be very critical when you have swingy ice, to play some shots, even if the rock's buried, sometimes you can tap them out, as we watch this one go too far. Ray talked about up weight straight. Vic, as soon as you get to draw weight, huge curl, and even the tap backs, you can get lots of movement.
And you can see with that stone also, Victor, how freely it slid through the house. I mean, it really is. It's a very lively house. We've seen, the opposite on many occasions. And you make a lot more doubles with the surface like this. You see a lot of, big hits and rolls across the rings, which you can't make sometimes under the other situations.
Kim Kelly way ahead as far as shooting percentages early in round robin play. The next player down is at 78, so a big spread of 9 percentage points.
I mentioned, Vic, in the reading of the ice that they did play a little bit with the temperature in here yesterday. We felt it cool off and got warmer, and we have courtesy of Toromont Refrigeration, we have the ice temperatures computer printout, so we'll keep in touch with what's happening at the ice surface and why they're maybe changing the conditions on the inside.
And in the first game, I mentioned Malena and Dorte both really struggled. And it was Malena at 39%. I'm sure she doesn't want me saying that, but they just really did not play well.
As a matter of fact, I think the last thing she said to us in the hallway as we passed them, be kind.
Be kind. Starting now. And everybody has a bad game.
Sure.
It's just, unfortunately, sometimes when one player has a bad game, someone else picks up the slack, and that didn't happen for Denmark.
Well, chances for Denmark there to tuck around that stone, Canadian stone, top of the 12-foot, but again, heavy, sliding to the back. Kim Kelly.
Yep. 69.82.
Well, we say all the time, it's a game of pressure, and so you have to be careful. Canada will keep the pressure on, and
just T.
Doherty's going to have to come up with a very, very big shot to get themselves out of this, this problem.
It's not T. Okay, good shot.
And if they got to hit the roll, I wanted to be able to...
9,5 10. Ja. Kan den rulle så langt? Jeg synes 10
When you analyze also the execution, I thought Doherty on the last stone they played, Malena's first, they actually would draw to the back stone. They actually called the harder shot, and that was the freeze to a buried stone in front of the tee line. So that is one thing, is sometimes they do complicate the issue a little bit by calling the more difficult shots.
You're right, you could have played the freeze for sure, but if they make that come around, you're in good shape as well. It's like it's not a bad call or anything, it's just the more difficult of the two, that's all.
I guess a nose doesn't hurt us too bad. I wouldn't mind a little flop.
This way?
Yeah. Okay, a little flop. We can't be too cute or we'd jam on that other side.
Go this way.
There's a little bump at the hog line.
So kind of scary, wasn't that?
Ja,
It is.
Det er heller ikke ret meget mere, at det skal falde for den vælter helt over, ikke?
You can roll away too to the open side, that's fine. Nancy talked about coming across the face and getting the roll in behind the guard a little bit.
She's just playing so well. Look at the eyes on the target. She's just so focused here.
Whoa!
First of the skip stones here in this opening into play, and we'll sit right there. Canada is lying 3 without the hammer here in 1.
So with the brushing, they obviously were trying to roll away to the open side. or they would have left that.
Real nice throw.
If it goes, it's just going to finish.
Yeah. Does leave a hit and roll possibility for Denmark.
Roll in behind the long red corner.
Den side der, så I skal passe på, når I sætter sten.
Put her in a position to try and get a deuce.
Ja.
Mentioned this is her second time skipping at a World Championship. She's played all the positions for Denmark except lead. Her greatest success, of course, coming with Helena Black.
Ingenting.
Well, interesting enough, Marlene Krause, who plays third in the team, has also played every position except skip, and she's been to 15 Worlds.
She was there when I played in '85, playing for Helena Black-Laversen.
Way back then, eh?
A long time ago. That one just wouldn't move for her, but I think maybe the other turn, a little bit different weight, all of those things might help her on that spot. Center line's tough sometimes to get that roll.
De kan jo gå ned. Du kan godt tage den, ikke? Hvis der er den ikke. Du kan meget lige op.
An exchange of stones now. If the rock Colleen's about to throw just sits right there, it's going to make it tough for Denmark on their last rock.
Yeah, nose hit is just perfect here.
Clean.
And the outturn as we expected.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 right off. Whoa. Yep. Whoa, whoa. Perfect.
Perfect is right.
Just in case you were wondering, 92% so far on outturn hits.
Vi kan ikke engang stå på den, jo.
Not a bad number.
Så er vi ikke bedre end den. Vi kan ikke spille en take og stå på den. Så er vi ikke bedre end den der. Nej, det bliver da et af at stå på den. Nej, det gør det ikke. Nå jo, det gør det. Selvfølgelig godt det. Ja. Med en 9,5. 10, eller hvad? 9,5, 10. Og her kører den også bare lige... Spil en take. Ikke? Ja, det skal stå lige på.
I've never seen this before, Linda. She's put an extra little pad between her takeoff or push-off leg and the hack. Why?
It's funny. We used to do it a little bit more when we had sunk hacks, when you actually felt that sometimes the hack was too low below the ice and you'd build it up a little bit. Rarely with this kind of hack, it may be for traction because it doesn't have a lot of thickness to it, Vic. It's just a piece of fabric, really, sitting on the hack.
Final stone facing three. Denmark and Dorte Holm here in the first.
She decided to hit the back one and try and sit right there. Ooh,
and does she grab enough? He does. Looks like she's got enough of the 8 for the single. So the Canadians without the hammer put the pressure on Denmark, and Dorte Holm comes through with the hit and stick.
The 2003 Ford World Curling Championships from Winnipeg, Manitoba are brought to you in part by Robaxaset, helping you walk away from back pain.
The Manitoba Moose have qualified for the American Hockey League playoffs. They will start on the road because of the Ford Worlds taking over the Winnipeg Arena. As we go to the second, and it's 1-0 Denmark as Dorte Holm made the hit and stick against 3.
That was a tricky little shot, actually. It was the back of the house, and she couldn't roll to the outside at all and just hung on.
Threw it with solid weight, too. She didn't threw it up.
Nope. Yep. Hard. Clean. Whoa.
With a player as good as Nancy Delahunt, you can't make the mistake that Denmark just made, where the rock's outside the rings. just biting. That means when Canadian stone hits it, it's outside and you can't remove it. So those little things, Ray, are the kind of things that will hurt you against Canada.
You know, like an inch and a half too far, 2 inches too far. Otherwise, you can't be removed from play. You can push it back and touch it, etc., but you can't take it out. So you're right. It just slips into the rings. It's that perfect opportunity. You can remove it, sit there, and they can't hit you.
Ja, lidt.
Kold, kold. God plads. Plads.
Lisa Richardson
Plads.
from Schenectady, New York originally. She's married to Ulrich Schmidt, who is the Danish skip at this year's World Championships.
Yep. Yep. Come on. Okay, jeg tror, den er lidt... Det er min, den der.
Vil du ikke tage mit vand derovre? Det er lige ved at...
Yep. Hard. Hurry.
I came out early this morning with my wife and my 2 boys and watched the men play, and oh, I'll tell you, they just look unbeatable. They really do. They just, and not you know, obviously their record, but Pal Trolson really never had a chance in the game. They weren't as sharp as I've seen them, but having said that, Randy Furby-Linda just did not give them anything, nothing at all, you know, nothing.
And somebody says, well, they're always good. And I say, I just feel that every time they step on the ice, every new event, it's one notch up. Every time I watch them, it's just everything is so good.
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to have a bad game or a bad day, and they know that too. But well, they may have a bad game or a bad day.
They may. Yes.
Canada was a winner, 9-3 over Norway, so the Canadians are now 2-0 to start this championship. Denmark and Ulrich Schmidt, he was a winner, so he's on top of the standings also at 2-0, and as well as Scotland, Warwick Smith, the Scots, and Finland. And Marco Yusupavaniemi won his second, so we've got 4 teams at 2-0.
Did you count that one down, Ray?
That's one
that's another
today,
Marco.
That's one.
Now in that first, going back to what you were saying about Denmark, did she, Dorothy Holm, get the kind of help she needed from the rest of her team, or was she left just to bail herself out with her last shot?
It was a bailout, it was a save, and that's what I said in the opening. She has to expect to do that, but the shots that they were playing were not that difficult. The come-arounds on the guard and the one that was a Canadian stone in the rings, it was a little bit tough, but not, anywhere in the house with those draws would have been better, and they were not really that close.
9,5 måske der.
9,5.
Og 9,3. Godt det nu.
It'll be interesting to see how long Colleen waits before she makes an offensive move by throwing up something up front. She did it pretty quickly yesterday against Dorothy Nordby of Norway, but she's chosen to play this end wide open. There was a situation with the rock out on the edge of the 12-foot or the 8-foot. You could have ignored it, thrown up a guard, or even come down and tapped it back, sat in front of it.
The other interesting thing in this end is that Dorte Holm, when the one Canadian stone was out front, was a guard, elected to play the come around. And that's an interesting thing for me when we talk about 4-rock rule, how little the teams try to put more than one guard out front. I think quite often in these situations, if you do like Broxton play, that may be the moment. You've got lots of time to get out of trouble if they happen to make a good raise against you.
Yeah, of course, you put the second one out there. And that's the one thing in going to Europe, where we've been over there for the number of World Championships. You, of course, just came back from Switzerland, and because we were here and you were there. But it's true then that we don't see them use their own rule. And now, you know, they're going to. You explained yesterday how they're going to. They're trying to put the 2 rule books together, and then the countries will make their own decisions on what you know, where they go. But it always surprised me, for sure, that they didn't use the rule more.
Well, coming up Monday at 7 Eastern Time, a special playoff preview of That's Hockey. But the playoffs are here. Season finishing up this weekend. So that's hockey. A playoff preview Monday at 7 Eastern Time.
This end will continue to be wide open.
Kim Kelly. Why do you, I mean, we've asked the question. Well, what's the answer when it comes to the lack of use of the four-rock rule by European teams, Linda? Why do you think that is?
Well, it seems to be that they don't want to take it that extra step, and that is to have that many rocks in play. They're comfortable with the one guard out in front, and they will come around that. The interesting thing is they love it when it gets near the end of the game to try and steal away a game, for example. I just think it's a great opportunity early in the game, with or without the hammer, to put another rock into position where you can maybe tap it right. Don't even have to draw around them all the time. You can tap them up later or run them back. And I think people just seem afraid to have that many rocks out in front.
Yeah, and I think maybe a little bit, Linda, it may lend to the fact that they do not play in some areas. They don't play on a lot of really great ice. And remember, Vic, a lot of still in some of these countries, a lot of their curling is done on hockey arenas, and the ice is just made up the hours before. You know, so they don't have the luxury of all the facilities that we have, and you know, when you're not confident on the ice and even reading the ice or how it curls, if it's not consistent, then you're not anxious. Even we are not anxious to get involved in a very complicated curling game.
I wonder too, Linda, if in fact the game hasn't evolved to the quiet tap back game that we see often in the Brier, for example, or in our skins games. That the game hasn't evolved that way in Europe yet.
I don't think it's just Europe, though, Vic. I don't think you can say that, because even when we watch four-rock bonspiels in Canada, we don't see a lot of teams want to jump out there and put guards out in front. So I don't think we can label it just Europe. But I do think, and I said that already this year once, I think that is the next step. When Canada gets the four-rock rule, we're going to see teams perhaps be more comfortable putting the guards out and moving rocks around and not necessarily jumping to the hit game so quickly.
Nice throw. Sit down. By a mile.
You got a line.
Beautiful throw. Straight as could be.
Sort of a tentative feel to this end after so many rocks in play in the first. Holm will just try and make the hit here and try to stay in the rings, of course.
Denise, du går bare ud, hvis du ikke kan være der. Ikke? Denise går bare ud, hvis hun ikke kan være der.
Final stone for Denmark and Dorte Holm. Canada with the hammer here in the second. Makes the hit, rolls it. Back edge 4. Back edge of the 8.
Colleen looking for the blank.
Denise, tog lige op på grænserne.
Nej, det så slet ikke.
Don't jump it.
Ja, hun vil heller ikke rigtig være der.
Nej, jeg sagde, hun skulle gå ud, hvis det var. Skulle jeg ikke lige til den her bagefter?
This is a great spot to be able to blank, because the rock is at the back of the rings. The shooter doesn't have far to go, but I do know that in the game you covered last night, there was a mistake by Norway in a situation like that where a rock was near the back and it went so straight she missed it.
Yeah, she stepped it up, and it runs so straight when you do that. We played it back a couple times to see, how she released it, and I thought she'd let it go pretty good, but boy, she really threw it, so it ran straight. She may have just put it back as she let it go. You got to be so careful.
Hurry. Whoa. Wow.
And won't get the blank. Will sit right there. So Canada forced to take one here in the second, and they'll hand the hammer right back to Denmark. It's draw number 3 for the women here at the Ford Worlds.
There's something about going by it there that makes me...
Huh?
It's unappealing.
It was the oddest thing this morning. You're standing down by the Assiniboine and Red Rivers, and you can actually hear the ice cracking as it melts. Let's begin our updates with the game between Switzerland and Norway. Switzerland scored one in the first. Nicole Strausak and her team from Bern playing Dorte Nordby, the two-time world champion. 1990-91. The Swiss had won their first 2 games. Norway 1-1 coming in. And this is a draw. There's the second point. Look at that on the edge of the 12. That's a draw for 2, and Norway has a 2-1 lead as they go to the third. Sweden against Italy. Both teams 1-1. The Swedes skipped by Annette Norberg. And the Italians by Diana Gaspari from Cortina d'Ampezzo. She was a silver medal winner at the recent bronze medal winner, pardon me, at the recent World Championships Juniors in Flims. And over curls too much. 1 and 2. So she gives up the steal of 2 to Sweden. And the Swedes have a 2-0 lead in the third. Scotland and Edith Loudon against Russia, and the Scots have the early lead there. Both teams winless so far. That's our featured game as we pick up play in the third. The U.S. scores 2. They're off to a good start. Debbie McCormack from Madison 2-0 against Japan, and Shinobi Ayota from Hokkaido at 1-1.
Vic, you made it sound like when you heard the ice cracking that I guess you never have any ice in Toronto.
No, not at all, not at all. No.
Isn't Toronto a whole city of ice right now?
Absolutely, the whole city's cracking. But no, I mean it's disconcerting. You hear it crack, and you think to yourself,
I'm glad I'm not out there.
I'm not glad I'm not on it. Yeah.
Well, it is a beautiful day here in Winnipeg. The sun was shining, a few clouds in the sky, but a lovely city so far. I've enjoyed it so much, Ray.
You went to bed at 5 yesterday.
That's right. Good call by Denmark. Put up the corner guard, and you see Colleen, the familiar pattern, trying to bury behind it, but you can still get around both of those stones if you want to.
Yeah, you can hit and roll behind there. There's the call.
Kommer nu. Ej, men længere op.
Kommer nu.
Ja, men ikke så.
Yep. Whoa.
There's the
There's
lively
the roll.
house. Yeah, there's the lively house we're talking about, Vic. You know, that was almost just off the nose, and she rolled clearly in behind the long guard. It makes it fun. It makes it all of a sudden the brushing becomes that much more important, and then the call of the line,
And the call of the ice. They did take the turn that they had to cross the stone and had to let it come at the end to get enough curl to get the roll. So everything is critical with those kinds of shots.
Yep. 3.
trying to pick it out of there.
Better to get the high one.
That was a bad mistake, and you see it, of course, it happens, and you don't like it, but picking out the middle one, it would have been all right, of course, to pick out shot rock. Not so bad to actually be
the high one
over and hit the other one off, because you could have then run your own onto the red one. Great spot now for Denmark, trying to sit 2.
Yeah, that's one of those things. You got to get the high one if you're not going to get the pick the rock out.
You can really see Dorte's brush, can't you? We were talking yesterday about how Colleen noticed that sometimes it was hard to see the brush, the target brush for the skip. No mistaking that one.
Well, no, because it came off the highway. It's a pylon, actually, I think.
Lots of weight here.
It's all right.
You wonder about all those little things, though, Linda. You know, you see people, the fluorescent brush heads and all the little extra little gimmicks that people try. Were you a big believer in that kind of thing?
Well, I don't call that a gimmick. I think some people truly have difficulty seeing the brush, and if you can make it brighter, I don't think there's a problem with that. No, I guess I wasn't.
Never mind.
I never really thought about it.
But you would have thought now, Ray, you wouldn't have never. You would think about how the sport has evolved from even, I mean, just think about corn broom and how it's, you never see a corn broom today, or very rarely, only with throwers. You think of where the game, you would have never thought when you're winning your Brier that the game would go in its direction. I'm not talking about the growth of the game, just the evolution of the equipment, for example.
Well, you don't think about it, but I guess if you look at it, I mean, it's really evolved in what we wear. I mean, in our days, it was a pair of stretch pants and a sweater, and away you went. You know.
Whoa!
Yeah, I think it's neat that the game has dressed itself up from a cosmetic point of view. It's getting better and better.
Wow, these are a lot of misses. That rock was quite open. The guard was quite high, and 2 misses on that stone. Now a chance for Denmark to get a 3rd stone in behind cover.
Yeah, this is a golden opportunity now to go behind that corner. Top of the 8-foot, even top of the 12-foot is fine. You're going to have 3 stones in the rings, and you're going to have all 3 of them covered in some fashion.
Is it just a case of up weight, run straight?
Yes!
Up weight, run straight.
Yep.
This is where Marlena's going to make. She's just going to make this shot and really keep the pressure on the Canadians. It's just a bad shot. That's just a bad shot. That's all it is.
We could just draw around we can get that back one, I guess, or draw around.
Well, we could. How much of that do you have? It's either that or here.
How much of this can you see? Do you want to hit that one?
Yeah.
Do you want to go around this one here?
Will it just come there?
Might as well hit it if you're gonna. Okay.
Denmark with the hammer looking to try and score a multiple end. And they're going to try and eliminate by drawing to the back one.
Yep. Wait's there. Yep. Hurry. Hard. Wait's there. I don't know if we hold it, if we're going to go through. Yep. Try to tap it. Hard. I can't sweep. Sorry.
There's where the rule came in too, Linda.
That's the brushing rule, where it's the acting skip only behind the tee line.
Nothing's working, eh?
Now Denmark's going to go on and win this game. They're going to have to make a good shot. They've had lots of opportunity to get it around in this area here. There's a long guard out there.
They'll need to try and bury this. I thought they might play the other turn, because if they don't bury it, of course, Canada can try and get a hit and roll towards the other Denmark stone. So Marlena's rock needs to be right in behind cover.
Ja, så må I lade den. Wow, så lad den. Ja, den skal bare falde lidt mere. Wow, ingenting.
I don't know if she's inside on these or if it's just not enough ice. 2 in a row.
Ej, hvor er det irriterende, jeg ikke kan... Ja, men jeg må være... Sådan da jeg var længere ude. Men så må jeg have vippet den ind af, eller sådan noget.
Well, what an opportunity for Denmark. You don't get very often. You get Marianne, who missed 2 wide open hits like that, and then Kim missed her shot. So, and you just haven't improved things at all.
They could have really been sitting, actually almost 4, I guess. If you look at that biter being in, it was a chance for Denmark at one point to sit 4, and now it's a chance for Colleen to draw in behind those 2 guards, extra cover for her, and try and take this end away. And for Doherty, it's just been a clear case of execution problems on 2 days in a row. The team is just not playing like they can.
And we've made the point before that you're not going to be given that many opportunities against a team like Canada, both women and men, and you have to. If you're going to have any hope of beating them, make them.
Where? Yep. Yep. Hurry. Go, yes. Yep. Go, yes. Hurry. Rita.
Suddenly the end turns around, and now you're chasing instead of having
You're good.
the Canadians chase you. It's the 2-game day for the men. And Randy Ferbey coming off a win earlier today against Paul Trulson. Will go against Switzerland and Ralph Steckley, the former world junior champion from 1997. He lost to Finland this morning, so he sits at 1-1.
Lige så nemt at se.
Well, nice shot by Colleen to, as you mentioned, Victor, turn this end around. But what an opportunity the Danes had to get put themselves in a great position in this end. With Marlene Krause's first one, I agree with Linda. I would have gone around the other red stone and tucked it in the side, and at least we would have left yourself a run back instead of this double run back that they're looking at. Earlier we talked about when they were trying to go around this stone here. I would have gone in around this one. And then of course there was the attempted come around and stop there. So now you can see, and when Colleen puts it there, so now they're trying the double run back. Red under yellow. Now if you make this,
yeah,
can really set things up, but the angle is tough on the 2 front stones.
1, 2, and by. And now it looks like it's even tougher, more buried.
It doesn't look like it, Vic. It is.
Ja, det bliver ikke så åbent af.
Ej, det kan man ikke lige sige.
Tværtimod, kan man sige.
In such a great spot that Colleen's not going to even risk drawing another one in. She's going to put a second one on the side and say, try to get to the button.
Well, she could come around to the face of that, though, the top of the forefoot. I mean, if you're right, if you set it up wrong, then you allow a double and they get out. So by going to the other side and getting away from it.
Well, I don't want to get any kind of hit. Deep is fine, because I don't want to get any kind of hit and roll to the tee line.
As long as you don't set up the double, you're absolutely guaranteed you're going to hold your opposition to the single.
That's more. Behind the tee, behind the tee. Behind the tee. Yeah, yeah.
Make sure you're back behind the
Behind the tee.
Right here's great. Yeah, it looks fine.
Behind the tee.
It is. Great shot,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Colleen.
Whoa. Whoa.
Is it too deep?
They do slide. Colleen was encouraging them to brush because she wanted it, so there was no double. It almost slid so far that it wasn't even second shot.
Sorry about that end, skipper, but I don't know.
Well, I felt comfortable giving you the field. Okay, first is good.
So it has turned around so that it could have been maybe 4 that Denmark was sitting at one point, and now Dorte Holm has to hit the button against 2.
Do you believe she's comfortable with the weight, considering the way the stones are sliding?
Dorte herself, I think so. It's just strictly been execution problems and line as well as weight, Vic, for the whole team.
Well, the problem really was at third when Marlene unfortunately missed those 2 stones, because that's where the whole thing turned around.
Final stone here in 3 of a 1-1 tie.
Dorte almost
facing 2.
Excuse me, she almost made her last shot, her first shot. Had to curl a little bit more, that's all.
Lisa Richardson, Denise DuPont.
What a nice shot.
And will sit right there for the single. So as she did in the first, Dorte Holm picks up a save and has a 2-1 lead. The Winnipeg Arena inside the Ford Worlds, and at the Winnipeg Stadium, half a block up the street. Look at this. This is what they call the party place. This is the Extra End Pub. It's 120 feet by 340 feet. It's the length of the entire football field. Took 4 days to build, another 9 days to get ready. They can accommodate 3,500 people. And that is where on Wednesday night they're going to have a tribute to Patsy Cline.
Oh, just tugs at your heartstring, doesn't it?
It does. Crazy.
So you can go crazy on Wednesday night in that
Wednesday
big
night,
place,
you
Vic.
betcha. Two to 1, Denmark leads as we go to the 4th, and Canada playing Yellowstones with the hammer.
Line's fine. Yep. Yeah, upper line. Line's great.
Guard out in front to come around, attempt by Nancy, and here is where Canada can really make a stand. That was a great chance last in for Denmark to score 3, maybe 4 with misses by Canada. Now it's time to Canada to take this game back and maybe try and get a couple this end.
At the same time as these Ford Worlds, the World Seniors Curling Championship is happening here in Winnipeg. And good news for both Canadian senior championship teams. The women, they're playing at the St. Vital Curling Club, Ray, and Nancy Kerr of Regina, the Canadian champion, was a winner this morning in the semifinal over Japan, and so she will play Carolyn Morris of Scotland for the gold medal later today at the St. Vital, while at the Heather Curling Club, Tom Reed from Edmonton, Alberta, former Alberta champion. We saw him a number of years ago, I think 99 at the Brier. Tom Reed was a winner over Scotland, 5-3, and so now he'll play the United States.
I wouldn't mind
and
coming this way
Scott,
again.
Scott Baird, who is a former U.S. champion and is in fact the 5th member for the U.S. team here, but he's playing his seniors as well, so it'll be Canada-U.S. in the men's final today, and we'll let you know how they go as Canada looks for gold in men's and women's seniors play.
Yep. Line's fine.
That was a large senior event too, Vic. It was basically an invitational. You could enter that from any country in the world, and travel was paid by the WCF, so they got a huge number of entries, I know, on the men's side. And of course started round robin play earlier this week prior to this event starting.
Little rub straightens it out.
Nice come around freeze by Denmark to really shrink the circles into.
And now a great chance to get rid of both of those yellow stones.
T. Me. T.
10 må det være.
As Linda suggests, there goes the double possibility.
Ja, jeg tror, den er...
Yes! 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 Come on!
Denise Dupont.
Come on!
Den der må du godt feje på.
Det er fint.
Godt, Denise. Åh, sgu langsomt, hva'? 10-5, mand.
Scotland with a 3-0 lead over Russia as we peek in at the last stone for Olga Yarkova out of the Moskvich Curling Club in Moscow, playing Edith Loudon from the Early White Ladies Curling Club in Perth, and makes the hit and sits just in time for the first point. Scotland 3-1 as they go to the fourth. Marianne Way.
Can draw! Yep! Hard! Hurry! Nice sweep, you guys.
Just by that front
Nice
one.
weight, Marianne.
Den var 10,5 før.
Update now, USA and Japan, with the Americans leading 2-0, or 2-1, pardon me, after Japan stole one in the first. The US got 2 in the second. Final stone now for the Japanese skip. This is Shinobu Ayota, the 25-year-old out of the Hokkaido area of Japan, against Debbie McCormick, former Saskatoon native out of Madison, Wisconsin. And over curled a little too much. It looks like it did, and it's just one back 8 foot and a 2-2 tie.
And in our game, Vic, just
Even just
I
right
mean,
there
just
is great.
The Danish
You leave them
ladies
to
are
hit
just
and roll.
absolutely
You
out
like
of sync
Fernando
completely,
on
Linda. I
turn?
mean,
If you
Right
come
there,
there,
yeah.
they still have the hit and roll.
not only did she miss the hit, she took out her own stone.
It looked like to me, I started the game giving ice times and saying hack weight curls a lot. If you pull the weight back from those nice hits that Teray talks about where they go quite straight, you get curl. And it over curled by a lot.
Yeah.
And you're right, Vic, they're just not, they're just not playing.
Okay.
And we've seen Dorte Holm before.
Oh,
we've
sure.
seen this team, some of this team before. And they have played very well. They are just
That's my
not
draw
playing the way
ice,
they
so
can.
It's
And the poor
dries.
girls, because they did say to us before the game, be nice, because they are struggling.
Oh,
And it's so frustrating to yourself when you're not playing well.
Marlene, and in particular, Krause, I've worked with years ago in
What's
my
that weight?
many trips to Denmark.
What?
And
Lots of
they're
weight.
nice people, but it's hard to
Back line.
why they've just
It's
come
great for
apart
the
at the
bump.
seams. It's hard to understand. It has happened. It
No
happens to
line.
all of us
No line yet.
sometimes,
Yep.
but you sure hate to have it happen when you're at a world championship.
Nope.
Okay, good shot.
Shot.
It is a nice shot. It's overlapped a little bit. So
That sort of took a,
Yeah.
I have actually been to Vadova where the Denmark
Yeah, me
team
too.
play, and the ice isn't bad. It is hockey ice. And they have the curling stones stored at the back below the concourse, sort of, in a cold storage area, and they pull them out, install the hacks, and away they go. But it's not bad ice, and the girls do play enough internationally that they do get to other countries and play an ice that does have some movement.
yep. Well,
And if it was
Yeah,
one
yes.
thing, if it was just weight or if it was just curl, you'd say,
yep. Wow.
well, that does happen. Maybe it's an adjustment to the ice, but it's just everything is going wrong for these girls.
Reminder, you can see first and second round coverage of the Masters beginning this Thursday, 3 Eastern time. This week the tune-up is the Bell South Classic. Glenn Natchik, the only Canadian remaining in the field, but he had a tough time yesterday.
oh, what
Boy.
a bad day. He got 80 yesterday.
Yeah, 80, so he was tied for dead last yesterday.
It's
But
hard.
he's still going to make money, though.
Whoa.
Watch the wing there, Marianne.
Got to play on the weekend
Right
in that
over.
game, though. You
Whoa,
can't disappear on the weekends. He's made 5 out of 6 cuts.
That's it.
Marianne.
That finished.
Marianne.
Here are all the scores
Great
now as we're
spot
nearing
for
the
your-
midway point of
That
this
worked out
Third draw of women's play on a Sunday afternoon.
But det her der ikke må lægge pris.
We almost have to, because I think she will. I think she'll just do that.
What are the problems if you're Canada and it's early in round robin play, Vic, but sometimes if you start to play against opponents that are struggling like Denmark, like Russia did in the first game, like Dorty Nordy personally did Norway last night.
I'm not sure, Nancy,
sometimes as Canada goes, they get a little unfocused themselves, and maybe that's what happened last end, where you see that Colleen's still shooting pretty well, but sometimes the team go with the opponent.
She's got to get around one on the 12th. You know, that's a...
Okay, that's the only thing we were concerned about, though. And the only thing about coming this way, like Marianne says, is it's nice to leave this one open in case she does draw to the forfeit. Then we can use this one onto what she puts there.
Well,
so I like either open side or
like
the
open
intern.
Side.
Okay.
No, I don't like the intern.
This is a very nice situation right here. So
She likes the open side. I told her, and that's fine. If she throws the draw, then we've got this one. Yeah.
And as I was saying, the other thing that happens when Dorte Holm and her team aren't playing as well is sometimes they do just take fewer risks. And they're right when they were standing out there looking back and saying, what should Kim play? Going open side, no matter what Dorte does to try and get out of this end, there are run-backs, angles that can be made by Canada.
Deep's great. Behind the tee.
Gotta be deep, don't we?
Well, it looks like it's there on its own, though. Shot, Kim.
Great shot, Kim.
good call. The two rocks behind the guard are placed so nicely for Canada. There's no inside roll, no roll to the forefoot. She can play the run back.
Live look at the U.S. and Japan as they play the fourth of a 2-2 tie. Final stone on its way from U.S. skip Debbie McCormick in her second world appearance. Played in Lausanne a couple of years back, and she's facing one with her last one. Quiet little tap, and that's the single point for the U.S. in a 3-2 lead.
Well, they talked about everything, even coming around, trying to bury it to the back of the butt and behind those guards, and they've gone back to the run back. She's going to try and run that stone right back. Maybe try and make the run back double.
It's a tough time at the end to be doing that. If you happen to peel that guard off, it's almost your only savior at this point.
Yeah.
Coming around the two yellows and the red, or freezing to the shot rock. Both of those might get you out of this without as much damage. This is a really tough shot for her. Need to try and make the double, but hopefully also leave the shooter out in front in case you need it on your last.
Run it back, one. Get them both, spill it up a little bit more, and it'll hang on. But in the open, tee line, just biting the edge of the four.
Not a bad shot, though.
Got that rock on the top of the 12-foot, which can be used. And she left the guard right on the center line, so.
Full four.
well, full to prevent the hit and roll on the other side, you know.
Yeah, shot stone is wide open. That was the other benefit of Dorte's run back. She left a guard, left a
Trust
rock
that
top
curl, you
12,
guys, if we're on
opened
it
up
for the-
shot stone. So Colleen
full
wants to
walk
leave this
there.
top
Nancy's
4.
did it. Marianne's might have picked, but it still was.
You want this right into the forefoot, try and get it around, just tuck it around a little bit around that long center guard. Full forefoot, half forefoot in front of the tee line.
No pocket for Dorte to draw to.
Full 4. Line's good. Lots of room. Yep. Line's fine.
We're thinking it's around
Yep,
14
lots of
seconds.
room. Yep. Finish it. Hurry. Top 4. Full 4. Just top 4, guys. Full 4.
Oh, it's sliding.
Whoa,
Look
whoa,
at this.
Whoa, whoa.
Almost 15 seconds and it makes the button.
It walked.
Super shot, Colleen.
Thanks.
It just stopped in time, however. If it slides a little bit further, it's going to work against you. It's in front of the button.
Nej, det synes jeg ikke. Men lad os måske tage dem begge to herude.
Ja.
Hvordan ryger den ud i den anden?
Jeg har lidt svært ved Gis, for jeg synes, det falder mærkeligt.
Ja, Denises valg, var hun var inde.
Hun var inde på den, ja.
Okay, samtidig med, at den var 10 i hvert fald.
Ja. Det er 9,5, ikke? Altså de der.
If you get the roll, you'll probably get the double as well.
Hvor giver du på de der 10'er?
Hvad?
Giver du mere is på dem, der er 10?
Now, the problem is for Dorte, as we're talking about the amount of ice to take in this spot.
9,5.
Vic, the other difficulty is that her teammates aren't hitting the broom, so she's not getting a good read on this spot. Remember, this is the side of the sheet where Marlene had a great chance to try and hit and actually picked her own out. So that's why they were having the longer chat about where to put the broom.
Jo. Rullet eller dobblen, ikke? Ja. Jeg vil gerne lave rullet.
Final stone for Denmark as Skip Dorte Holm in the 4th, leading 2-1, facing 3 Canadian stones. Canada has the hammer. Richardson and DuPont now with Krause calling line, looking for the little hit and the flip. She'll make the double, but then the shooter will roll to the back 12, and so the Canadians will have a chance for 2.
The open draw for the extra point now, but it could have been worse. So
Every end, Dorte, you think about it, she hit against 3 in the first, made the save, and the third end drew against 2, made the save. Here she's eliminated stones, forced Canada to have, not a bad end, a deuce, but it could have been so much more.
Final stone, Colleen Jones and the Canadians.
Line's fine, though. Line's great.
Trying to draw for a couple.
Line's great. Watch it. Watch it for line.
Kim Kelly, Marianne Way haven't put a brush to it.
Just clean it. You're on this one, so clean
Whoa,
it.
you're not on it.
Great shot.
You're on it for 2. Colleen Jones in Canada will take a 3-2 lead through 4 here in this third draw of women's play. Let's meet these two teams. Throwing lead stones for Denmark, Lisa Richardson. For Canada, Nancy Delahunt. The seconds, Denise DuPont and Marianne Way. Throwing third stones, Malena Krause and Kim Kelly. And the skips for Denmark, Dorte Holm, and for Canada, out of the Mayflower Curling Club in Halifax, 5-time Canadian champion Colleen Jones here at the Ford Worlds. The key shot is brought to you by Robaxaset, helping you walk away from back pain.
Well, Denmark really got into big trouble, but it is Ray Colleen Jones's draw that really sets it up for Canada.
Yeah, she makes this come around. She gets it tucked around, just around a little bit around that long guard, and so.
And then it was a draw for 2, and Boyd, she seems to have the feel, even though we saw the time of those draws much faster than I expected this early, but perfect 4-foot weight.
The house is truly sliding too. It seems that they almost pick up speed when they get to the paint. They don't, of course, but they don't slow up very quickly.
But Vic, you look at that score, 3-2, and it feels like so much more. It feels like Canada should be way out in front because of the mistakes by Denmark. But Dorte Holm is hanging in there.
Yep, she's come out of the bullpen, thrown a couple of saves, and so she's within one. 3-2 as we go to the 5th. Denmark playing Redstones has the hammer.
Whoa, no line yet. No line. On its own, on its own. Weight's good. Whoa.
Quickly go to the game between Sweden and Italy, and Annette Norberg comfortably in front 6-0 over Italy. And Diana Gaspari, the 18-year-old skip from Cortina d'Ampezzo, won the European B Championship in Grindelwald, then played off with Germany in the final last spot qualifier, won that one 9-8 to qualify for these Worlds, and here gets herself right back into it with a 3 in the 4th. So it's 6-3 Sweden leading going to the 5th.
Count them. 1, 2, 3. That was.
Funny way to go, yeah.
Now explain something to me. Why is it?
Yep.
If it was 15 at the hog line, why wasn't it at the back of the 8th? Just because it's just the house?
You mean, why wasn't it light? Because I was saying
that's right.
that it was 14 to 14 and a half. So
right.
if it was
The other
15, it would
way.
be
Yeah,
top of the
see.
12-foot. It's really sliding.
We know that you spent the whole day in the airport on Friday. You're just not quite up to snuff yet.
Jeg synes, den er for langt ude.
Did you meet anybody in that airport, Nick? Anybody that you like that you haven't covered already?
We had a lot of people, actually. Told you about Patty Lang, former U.S.
you
champion.
did,
Who else did I meet the other day?
Someone from Yugoslavia.
No, from
Latvia.
Latvia.
Sorry, pardon me.
No, dear.
Where is that?
Send your letters to her. Lady from Winnipeg. Who did I mention to you yesterday? I mentioned to you off air. I bumped into her.
Yeah.
Here you
Go
go.
ahead.
I don't think I was here, so I can't help you out.
One of the sisters.
Oh, Carol Harvey.
Carol Harvey.
Yes, yeah. Carol Harvey, right?
God.
How could you forget? Carol used to do a little work for us.
Yes,
remember?
I apologize. And now,
Det er godt spillet, Denise.
yes.
Marion, I think you can throw a back line and tap that out.
She came by the guard by
Not a bad come around there. It's not shot rock, but there is a guard that's way over.
Yep.
There's the guard, and you can see that Denmark's trying desperately to use anything. It's really long, so it's not protecting that well.
back line.
Whoa.
Back line.
Yep. Hurry. Hard. Right up.
Not quite back. We're losing weight. No. Okay.
Over curled.
The chance to come down and just tap that back a bit, lie two.
Skal vi nok ikke røre det der ude nu, vel?
Norway, Switzerland. 2-1 Norway leading.
Jeg mig ikke om de der lægge ned i bag.
They blank the third, so the final stone from the Swiss. This isn't the skip. This is Nicole Strauzak, who's the skip. Selina Rollieu throws the fourth stone, playing Dorty Nordby. And that will be a steal of 1 for Norway. 3-1, they lead going to 5. Switzerland 2-0 coming in. Norway 1-1.
Hello! Hello! Ej, det var sgu langt ned. Kom on! Det er fint. Vigtigt. Hvad gør jeg nu?
There's another example of just not coming up with the shot that was called, and I mean that they were playing down to the face of the stone in the rings, and if you just tap it back, even if you don't tap it back, you sit there in front of it. Canada has to deal with it or make a switch in what they're going to do to try and defend it. And by coming up now, you could make a hit here and roll over.
9-5.
Be shot rock, lie 2 actually. So you get another chance to come down to the face of this stone. There's the call.
Brush going, Jimmy.
It's not like the Canadians aren't helping them here. I
And
mean,
it's not like you can't see the brush.
No.
Hitting it may be another matter. But
It's just a little surprising. We see how easy it is to see that broom, that they're coming up light on those, Ray. We often say that you can't throw too hard because you won't get the kind of curl you want if you overthrow it, but it's just sliding so easily. So to come up short of a freeze at the back of the house, well, that's just meaning that you don't have the feel at all.
Kom nu, Pia! Come on!
And it's hard to get out of a slump. We're talking about how the Denmark team just aren't playing well, and sometimes if it's more than one player, it's just difficult. Nobody gives you that charge to get back into it. But look at that, it is so fast. I don't know if it's the stone or what's going on.
On the out turn.
there's just no explanation for it. Just, as you say, she's lost complete confidence in the weight. I mean, that was to be a freeze to the stone in the rings. Even if you tap it back, it's okay.
It doesn't
It's
move
allow
here,
a long
Kim.
guard.
It won't move until the hog
If I
line.
give you any more ice, you'll hit the sideboards.
They're trying to play their own stone onto the one red stone that is in the rings. It's way over on the side, and that's where they're having a long look at it.
No, I just have to see what you see because of the angles I'm sitting at. I'm not. Oh, no.
That's a long guard.
It's floating too far back, though. Let's just come around on the out-turn side of the guard they just put there. No, even that's too tricky. What?
Just,
Yeah.
There's what
Although
there's
I
what
don't mind
that she
drawing
wanted to look
over
at.
that way.
She can draw in around that and
Yeah, we
lie
just have
two.
to sit number 2. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
There's a long red guard out here. That's what they talked about out there in that area there. So she decided to come in here, sit in here, lie two.
Actually, I think she's playing around the red guard out in front now. They talked about all the options. I think the final one was to draw around the red guard to the right of center line as we look at it.
67.
Got some room. Room. Lots of room. Lots of room.
We don't have any weight here.
Trouble with coming around this way, you could, if you don't get it covered, you could set up a possible double.
Here we go.
You could go the other way. You're a little safer.
Lost a little bit of its kick.
Now the double is there. You come down on this one and try and catch this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Whoa. Whoa.
Melina Kraus.
Så skal jeg tage den ned bag.
No roll, sits right there.
It is shot rock, however. She never even looked at the double. She was
She
playing
didn't.
the roll all the way.
And when it wasn't
kinda
going
have
to
to play
curl,
it
I
though,
thought
don't
maybe
I?
she would call the brushing
the only
and
thing
play
is it
the
wasn't
double
shot, we
instead,
couldn't
but she didn't.
The only drag thing is that they're going to be, we'll only be number 3 after hitting this.
Live look at USA Japan. 3-2. The Americans leading. Final stone on its way from Shinobu Ayota from Hokkaido. Hit, sit right there, and they'll get their single. Have a look at the other stone at the back of the 12-foot.
Just keep it right on the nose.
It is 1 yellow, and it's a 3-3 tie as they go to the fifth end break.
If she plays the back one and sits 1 and 2, then we've got the bump. Yep. Yep.
Hard.
Whoa.
Clean.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Clean.
Whoa.
Wall
Whoa.
off.
Whoa.
Clean. Clean.
Whoa.
It's cleaning. It's great.
Yellowstone at the back of the house is first shot. The red stone appears to be second shot. As Colleen's rock, once it nose hit, didn't roll anywhere.
Skal helst have den der på et tidspunkt, ikke? Kan man sige.
I think that they can get down to the back one. Just touch it back with the end turn. Colleen would have the option, of course, of tapping hers back. So you can just play the come around to the 4-foot around this long one.
Jeg kunne gøre her før, ikke? Hvor vi havde en liggende derhen. Du skal helt herud.
You could tap this back, but then Colleen could just move this one up if she so desired. So the call is to come around this way into there.
Fonti. Vi ligger med toren. Og hun har så nemt ved lige at skubbe sin ind. Hun har rejset, ikke? Så vi bliver nødt til at gå
It's always interesting if you're trying to second guess your opponent, wondering what Colleen would do based on all the ones that Ray just showed you. It would be interesting to know if Dorte actually tapped out the Yellowstone that is shot rock right out and sat to what Colleen would do, because if she wouldn't ignore it, you might be better to do that. As soon as you play, this is a good call. As soon as you play this, though, Colleen is forced to make something like the tap or a nice freeze if you happen to go a bit deep, and you might get completely out of this end, and Denmark might not have a chance for a deuce. So that's the fun part of strategy, not just what's the right call against certain opponents. And that one is just light.
Way out there it might have Nance. I don't know if it has anywhere else.
Well, the line looked pretty good, but it just right here is strictly just a weight scenario. She drives in behind and just didn't come with enough weight. That's all there is to it.
So even if you think it's heavy and you don't want to,
They don't jump on it, so it may have picked something, Linda, because it. I mean, she's another. She's 10 feet short.
And Dorte herself has not played badly in this game. That's the first really big miss we've seen from her. What a great chance for Colleen now.
What am I throwing now? Are you sure? Even so, you think between
Playing the tap back, tap the Yellowstone
You
back.
think it's come back that much?
Well, they're having a conversation in the hack. We saw times of up to 15 seconds last end, and Marianne Way is now telling Colleen it is dropped by up to a second they're talking about.
Yep. Hard line. Hard line.
Marianne Way closest to the stone. Kim Kelly out in front.
Hurry line.
Gotta go, yeah, hurry! Stay on it, stay on it, stay on it!
Got to get it by the top one first, and they do. And it actually over curls and raises the stone out into the open top 8.
Ligger rigtig til at få to ud.
I don't know why yours didn't
Det er
curl.
lidt sat.
Wonder if it's something with your rock.
Well, it's once again a break for Denmark. They pushes it right into the open as opposed to being buried behind the guard. So now it's an open hit for
Men det er ikke ret meget, hva'?
for the single.
Hvor skal du ramme den?
So many things have gone wrong. You lose your confidence now. You're afraid to play anything.
Ramme den der. Ja, du skal ned og ramme den. Bliver vi selv
Trying to see if they can score more than one on this situation. They make the double where the shooter will go.
How far will the shooter roll?
Kom til at overfejre den i hvert fald.
Du må trække den lidt ud af, hvis der er.
Jeg vil godt prøve at ramme den lige på den her side.
Så giv lige der.
Ja. Du spiller bare 9,5.
9,5.
I think that it's possible to get the extra point here. Hit this one here. Try and catch the double. And hold the shooter by rolling over here.
Hvis vi kan trække den lidt ud af, vi godt
Possibly score two.
Så er der en meget skrå dobbelt med. Jeg spiller 9,5, ikke?
With kind of the there's an excellent look at what she's looking at from the other end.
The funny thing about this position is if you just made the nose hit, went to the fifth end break with the score tied, you would be ecstatic if you're Denmark the way this game has gone.
Final stone, Dorte Holm here in 5. And all on its own.
Nej, jeg tror sgu.
Hits it too thin. And so it'll be a steal of 1 for the Canadians. That's the stone at the back of the 12. 4-2 Canada leads.
Nice bump up, Missy. Did the trick.
The 2003 Ford World Curling Championships from Winnipeg, Manitoba are brought to you by Nokia, official wireless phone of the Season of Champions. By Karcher, you'll look for things to clean. And by Ford, built for life in Canada.
Let's update you on the game between Russia and Scotland as they play in the 5th. 4-1 Scotland. Edith Loudon from Perth against Russia and Olga Yarkova from Moscow. Both teams looking for their first wins after losing 2 yesterday. And the Russians are lying 1, and they try to get across the face and angle it back for a second potential point, but they'll just pick up 1. They'll go to the 5th end break, Scotland leading 4-2. Now to the game between Switzerland and Norway, and you can see Norway is lying 1 with some backing, edge of the 4-foot, final stone for the Swiss with Selina Brelieu throwing the 4th stone for the Swiss champions from Bern. Norway skipped by Dorte Nordby, the 2-time world champion, back-to-back in 90 and 91. Boy, this just absolutely takes off on them. Trying to squeeze it by. And I guess the potential was there. They thought if they could get across the nose, push it back, they might score 3. Instead, it's a steal of 1 for Norway, 4-1 here at the Winnipeg Arena. And the Ford World Curling Championships on TSN. Reminder, we're back with you 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. It'll be the second game on this Sunday for the Canadian men's champions, Randy Ferbey. They were winners earlier today against Paul Trulson. So it'll try to make it 3 in a row as they play Switzerland. Ralph Stackley, Switzerland losing to Finland earlier today. As we look at the Assiniboine, and here are all the scores for you. All the games have passed the midway point. Japan has come back to tie the U.S. Norway looking to hand Switzerland their first loss. And the Italians have stolen 1 in 5 and now within 2 of Sweden after the Swedes and Annette Norberg led 6-0, and they're playing in the 6th. First stone of the
Nice
sixth
weight, yeah.
is right on the lid from Nancy Delahunt. It is Denmark playing the red stones, trailing 4-2, and they have the hammer.
Well, as I said in the fifth end, I think that if it was me, I might have just hit and stayed if I was throwing that last rock for Denmark and gone into the fifth end break and talked to the coach and say, I can't believe we're tied. Now what can we do in the second half of this game to try and get back on track? Because they really have struggled. But good decision putting up the corner and trying to get something going now with the hammer.
Godt, Lisa.
Time to check the numbers after 5. Linda has those. They're brought to you by True Value.
As I say, the spread could have been a lot more. Just the one steal by Canada in the first 5. And look at the draw percentage difference. Denmark at 64%. That has been a huge difference in this game so far. They have to get the feel back, make the come-arounds, use those guards.
And there really hasn't been a lot of drastic changes. Toromont refrigeration gives us the ice temperatures throughout the game. And when we started the game at 12:55 on sheet B, the ice surface was at the far away end was 21.2, and the other end was 18.8 Fahrenheit. And then at the fifth end at 2:35, it was 24.1 at the far away end, and then 19.3. So there's been a little bit of change in the temperature ice surface, and that has maybe altered the weight a little. But you can see how well the Canadians are drawing. They're having no problem at all. And it's just the fact that Denmark really has been struggling with the feel.
Yep. Whoa.
Sometimes we do see, as the ice gets a little warmer and the conditions inside, it gets hotter, the air gets hotter, then we do see the ice surface change a little bit and the weight change throughout the game as the pebble breaks down. Talk about the fudging.
Interesting, though, that the little bit lower temperature is at the home end. So we'll keep an eye and see if the home end versus the away end draw speed changes at all, or if the houses are different as far as how lively they are at either end. Nice little roll there after a good shot by Denmark to get rid of the Canadian stones.
And it's not a big change from the 18.8 to 19.3, so it's going up a little bit, which they expect.
Another nice crowd here. You can see the fans in the background. Really, every draw of the day seems to be lots of people in the stands.
They're ecstatic about the crowds, and it's going to get better and better. They're talking about sold-out weekend.
Hold it left. Fem. Whoa. Yes. Yes.
Hold da, hvad skete der? Der skete ikke. Jeg tror også, der skete et eller andet. Så mærkeligt ud i kølet også.
Final weekend of the NHL's regular season. Playoffs begin this week, and so that's hockey. We'll have a special playoff preview for you. 7 Eastern time, Monday night, 4 Pacific. Get the inside stuff on the playoffs with That's Hockey.
Whoa. Yep. Way over. Great shot.
We could have, yeah. Because it does finish there.
Now, it's one thing, Linda, I suspect if you're the skip and your team is struggling, you can try to get them out of it. But if you're struggling too, what do you do? How do you approach the game? You just go ahead and say, all right, I just try it all, and hopefully we'll just get out of our funk? Or are there, in fact, ways of doing it through shot making?
Well, I think for the first 3, the ones that are not skipping and throwing last, there are ways that at the hack end you can try and get each other into a better mode, maybe better focus in the hack by what you say to them. For the person throwing last, it's tough, Vic, but actually Dorte herself, as far as Denmark goes, wasn't playing that badly. The last end, she did miss 2 shots. And so in the fifth end break, I'm sure the coach would have a moment to talk to her. But really, she throws well. And I think her execution is probably going to stay the best of the team based on what we've seen so far.
But it's just kind of an overall panic. Even on the calling of that last shot, they brushed it all the way down. Now, I know that they don't want it to break on them big time and chip the guard, but had they left the rock a little bit and had a little bit more movement, they may have got the roll, which they were trying to get behind the corner guard. So there just seems to be a little bit of panic on everybody's part. And that does happen when one leads to the other, when you lose confidence.
Well, they're very discouraged right now. Right down the lineup.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Come on.
Yep. Come on.
Malena Kraus looking for the hit and roll. And we'll roll it to the edge and out.
Please, du går fra hinanden.
I kind of like feeling it myself. I think it's coming off her shoe.
There is little black bits of rubber coming off the grippers of one of the players. That's not the first time that after Denmark has brushed the stone down, they've bent over and picked up something off the ice. And that's something you have to be very careful with if you're playing a team that has some equipment that's failing. You've got to really be watching the cleaning of the ice. I mean, that's a big chunk of material for a rock to slide over. It would stop dead.
See chunks of rubber coming off tires in car races that call those marbles.
Mine's pretty good.
Get up into the marbles, lose control, and end up spinning out.
Lots of room.
Well, the stone would definitely be out of control if it hit that
full eight.
large piece of material.
Yeah, try to get it behind
It might be T. Yeah, it's T.
I know, but I don't. Yeah, yeah. Just thinking if they hit
Can't
roll
do it
behind the
there.
corner.
Gotcha.
Right. Right. So many rolls.
It's funny, too, when you listen to the voices, Ray, you just talked about how Denmark seems so discouraged. You listen to Colleen and the team. There are members of the Canadian team that really aren't executing the way we know they can. And I said sometimes that happens. You tend to go down a little bit with an opponent that's not playing as well. But the Canadian voices are just so different. They are not discouraged, obviously, by the play so far. They've got the little edge in this game.
Yes. Yep.
The call for the freeze here, as opposed to the hit and roll.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Get down on the face. Nothing wrong with the call.
Whoa, whoa, no lap.
Good shot.
I wonder if I can throw back to here and get the little flop in.
I think so. I would think you've got it all from the half.
Playing quietly. When you hit that, push it back to that position. Try and roll the shooter over there.
Straight. Yeah, it was a good throw. Back 12-ish. That's what I'm trying for. That's what I'm trying for.
Live look at Norway, Switzerland with Dorty Nordby
Lance.
leading 4-1 over the Swiss. The champions from Bern with an opportunity to score a couple here with Selina Brolieu
Lange.
throwing the fourth stone for Nicole Strauzak.
4.5. Bouncy upwards. Finito Langus. 12. Whoa, whoa. What is it? Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, whoa. What's the weight? Whoa. 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 Close. Whoa.
Easy, Josh.
Whoa. Long way to come.
We're just a straight jam here.
Nothing.
Okay, we might have been able to.
And it looks like the Swiss got there too, but we'll confirm that.
Yeah.
And here's a big break for Denmark. Got to capitalize now.
Har du klistret dine bukser op eller sådan noget? Nej, jeg ved ikke, hvad det er. Jeg tror, det er
Trying to get the roll
Okay.
over here. Lie 2. Great opportunity.
Switzerland did score 2. Norway leads 4-3 now over the Swiss as they go to the 7th.
This is important for the scoreboard, but Vic, you talked about confidence and things the skip has to do. This would be a very big shot for Dorte to boost her confidence.
Yes. Yeah.
Denmark
Yes.
with the hammer here in 6. Down 4-2. And flip it over and roll it behind. Cover to lie 2.
Just rolled a little too much, but pretty nice shot.
Ja, så irriterende. Skulle de have ligget der foran, så den var en lille smule gemt af den gule, ikke?
Ja.
Colleen will try and sit on top of those 2.
Ja, det var der et rul imens. Den har bare en lille lomme.
Lock it on.
Lock it on.
You can see by the ice that this is a spot, in particular watching her last one, that doesn't seem to be curling as much. We'll see how it slides once it gets near the house, if Dorte's rocks are safe or if Colleen can make the good freeze.
Final stone for Canada. Colleen Jones
Line's
trying
pretty
to draw down to a couple of stones, sitting at the back of the 4.
Hurry! Hard! Gotta go
Marianne Way, Kim Kelly diving at a stone, top 12, sneak it by that one first.
Had lots of weight too, she just didn't take enough ice.
And so now it'll be a chance for 3 for Denmark.
Absolutely perfect weight. Absolutely perfect. Just needed a little bit more ice.
Yeah, absolutely.
They brushed it hard all the way. It's just walking sideways right here as it's starting to slow up. Just rubs the top one. If she gets it by, she's going to glue it on the face. It may have even curled too much, Linda.
That's about ice reading. We were talking about it earlier, Vic. You were discussing the amount of ice, and we're talking about the dramatic difference between draw and then a little bit less for the tap, and then quite a bit less for the hit. And finding that difference, because remember, Colleen's first was a tap, and I think she cut down the ice too much in her draw. So Dorte, great chance now to get 3.
To put Denmark back in front. Final stone here in 6.
Whoa. Yes! Wow!
And that'll do it for 3. Denmark takes advantage of the mistake, the crash. A little rub by Colleen Jones.
Nicely thrown. Got that controllable weight, Linda. No mistake out of her hand.
2 great shots by Dorte. Remember the little hit and flip? We thought maybe it went too far. It works out perfectly as Colleen Jones can't make the freeze, and there's a huge 3-pointer for Denmark.
Selvom det er kun fordi vi lige har set den, ikke? Ellers er det den forkerte vej at sætte den, ikke? Men altså, den falder meget pænt til.
Just 1 game today, but 2 on Monday for the women. And Canada and Colleen Jones will be on the ice against Switzerland and Nicole Strausak. You'll see it on TSN at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Pacific with Kathy Gauthier and John Wells. Scotland against Russia as they play in the 6th. And it's a 4-2 Scottish lead. And this is Edith Loudon from Perth.
Wall right off.
Against Russia and Olga Yarkova. Both teams looking for their first wins of this year's championship. Trying to hit and stick against 2. And will roll out. You wonder if, in fact, that'll give a steal to Russia. If, in fact, she would have been better with the draw there. with the 2 stones on the edge of the 12. USA against Japan in a 3-3 tie, playing the 6th. US kicked by Debbie McCormick. 4-time US junior champion, has appeared in both Olympic Games in '98 and at Salt Lake. 2002 out of the Madison, Wisconsin, playing Japan. And Shinobi Ayota from Hokkaido. And Swiss Helm silver, and Tracy Sachin with the brush. Get it there for 2. No, just the single. And 4-3, the U.S. leading. Switzerland with their 2 and 6. We showed you that. Norway with the hammer. Dorothy Nordby leading there. And Sweden, after giving up 4 straight points, gets 1. And so it's Annette Norberg leading. Diana Gaspari as they play in the 7th. Denmark, that 3 jumps off the board. They have the lead 5-4 as we go to the 7th. Colleen Jones in Canada with the hammer.
Well, it really has been a story of Dorte Holm saving and then making some great shots last end to get Denmark in front. Otherwise, if you're Canada, you must be kind of shaking your head. Nancy and the team have been playing not badly.
No!
And suddenly they're down a point and they're trying to get something going with the corner guard.
Well, you think back to the opportunities that the Danes have had. They really have had a number and just let them kind of slip away. So sooner or later, they're going to, those kind of things are going to catch up with you, and that's exactly what happened. In fairness, as you said, then when we looked at it again, a couple of nice rolls, early rolls to get across there. Now, Colleen definitely had the right weight for the shot that she was playing, the freeze or lock on that she called it, but just curled too much on her.
Now I'll be interesting, Linda, to hear the Canadian voices, to see if in fact they change now a little bit. You were mentioning earlier that that's one thing that hasn't changed. Now we'll see if in fact their demeanor changes a little bit, trailing.
Denmark's going to leave that 1 stone belonging to Canada in the rings and try and get a second one in.
What's that?
Yep. Little firm. Hard. Hurry. Hard all the way. No roll.
Be sure to join CTV National News with Lloyd Robertson for Target Iraq and ongoing coverage of the situation in the Middle East. The CTV National News.
Det er sådan en, den er godt nok langt ude at spille, er den ikke det?
Well, those little yellow ones around the edges make you very nervous when you don't have the hammer. Denmark's deciding to try and go after the biter. They didn't want to group the 2 stones on the other side, but this is sort of an iffy situation when you look at the house.
Could have drawn behind the corner and to lie 2. It's the 3rd shot, Rock, unfortunately. So
Oh, sorry, 1. You've thrown
Colleen gets a chance to walk across and play the hit and maybe roll to the center to lie 2. I think it's the, yeah, I'm saying that definitely.
The yellow stone is second shot. I'm with you all the way on that, Ray.
Well, you didn't jump in, Victor.
Firm.
That's the thing, though. It was interesting the way Dorte tried to prevent Canada from scoring 2 by leaving that one in the house, but she didn't spread the rocks out very far.
Okay.
Oh, but here's a chance now with those rocks grouped a little bit.
The double.
Min hat, bare. Min hat.
Ja. ved ikke, om man kan det her.
One,
Det kunne man ikke.
and not
Jeg tror, vi
enough.
fjerner de der ting.
Well, I have no idea why they weren't brushing it. I don't understand
Nej,
it.
spille helt ud siden. Sæt
Brush it
bolden.
hard all the way. You're going to make the double and sit there.
It's hard to say which of these two are shot, though.
Now it's closer as to who is shot stone.
Ray will tell us.
I think it's red.
Okay.
You want me to make these decisions? I'll make them,
You are
Vic.
so confident. Kim Kelly.
I just cannot believe why they were not brushing that stone. I really can't. That was just mind-boggling.
Wait only. Whoa, let it on its own, you guys. We gotta go. Okay, go then. Hard. Right up, all the way, never leave it. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Great one. Hard.
Good shot.
Hurry, hurry, right up. Good. Great shot. Got him.
Nice draw by Kim Kelly, top 8. May actually be peeking out the other side a little bit.
That's the spot that Kim drew to that I was sort of referring to earlier, that Dorte could have drawn to first rather than put a rock in the middle of the house early and let it Canada have a hit and roll. So it's just an interesting sequence of shots in this end. The whole game has had a strange feel to me as far as both the shot making and, of course, the strategy. Just one of those weird days. It's just everybody just a little off.
It's kind of a earn your money day, isn't it, Linda? There's a good shot if it doesn't bounce off too far.
Jeez, it's so close to being perfect, and yet it can be removed.
Elena Kraus.
Are you gonna throw
Married
hack
to
or
Kurt
back line,
Larson.
or what does it look like?
Kurt Larson. He
Forward?
may say the name is familiar. He's
Back
a
line?
6-time Danish
Back
champion.
line?
Denmark set up the score last in by a nice hit and roll. Here's a great chance for Kim to do the same and
Where? It's just back
get this
line.
stone in a great spot.
Yep. Whoa.
Little hit and roll
It's
in the
not a lot
open. I
of
think you'd be
weight.
lying 3 here.
Yeah, it is. Any roll you got, Marion, on the yellow.
Go hard on the red, Colleen.
Hard, hard, hard. Go.
Great shot.
Pistol.
Nå.
Og det er jo igen, ikke?
Good
Ja,
shot.
jo, de ligger jo meget godt der bagved. Man kan jo ikke rigtig gøre noget. Jo. Det synes jeg. Hvor skal du hen?
Quickly go live to the game between Sweden and Italy. And a big final stone here for the Italians and Diana Gaspari as she plays Sweden and Norberg. Look at the stones here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's facing 6 with her last one. The shooter spills out, and it is a 6 count for Sweden in the 7th. And that's it. Sweden will go to 2-1 as they win it 13-4. The Italians will drop to 1-2.
But that is one of those games you kind of like that, Ray, of Italy, because they got down early and they gave up a lot of points, but they knew they had to take chances, and sometimes you just can't get back.
Yeah, that happens often when you're trying to scratch from behind, and you have to give her credit for trying to. She was down 6-0, and she fought her way back to a 3, and then stole
Jeg
one.
kan ikke høre, hvad der bliver sagt.
Then the roof fell.
And that was a little brushing mistake, and it could be a big mistake because it looked like it might corner freeze. It just goes by, and Colleen can get at that rock.
Hit and flop. Hit and roll.
By 3.
fare den halvt rundt om, ikke? Hvis man næsten var der, så kan du godt fare den ned på en 10 halvt rundt om, ikke? Altså ikke, at det er meget bedre, men... Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Colleen Jones in her first.
No! Nothing.
Shooter spins off, and Canada continues to lie just one.
Sorry, how firm, Marianne?
And the redstone is not in a bad spot, so this could be another out for Denmark. It's just a little bit off. I think Colleen on that one maybe took that little bit too much ice by adding the extra weight.
Ja, det er skotten, og så toeren. Hvad med de yderste der? Hvordan ligger de? Kan vi se det?
Nej.
It's hard to keep up with the changes in this end.
Hvor fanden skal vi så gøre af den?
Skal vi lægge den hernede igen?
Ja. Er det ikke
Så læg den her. Så giver du hende 2,
Så giver vi hende 2.
Hvis jeg skal ligge ind og lægge
Canada
den,
has the hammer.
Så kan du også lægge den her, ikke?
Come around with the same shot that you just played, Linda. Come around and go freezing. You could be shot rock.
Jeg synes næsten, det er bedre at lægge den herover af. Og vi kan genere lidt for hende, ikke? Enten her foran. Eller enten der foran, eller hvis den er lidt længere, så må vi trænge den herned, så der er lidt...
Men foran bliver jeg ikke skotten af, vel?
That's where to put it.
Nej, så skal den ligge her.
Så skal jeg lægge skråt.
Skal
Bliver skotten af det?
Ja, det altså, skal den ligge her, ikke?
Ja?
Den skal ligge her, for den skal jo ind i, helt ind i 8 fod for at være skot, ikke?
Men er det svært, ikke?
Jo, det er svært.
Skal vi prøve?
Ja, så giver vi hende selvfølgelig også 2, hvis vi bare lægger den ned på. Så skal du simpelthen prøve at lægge den her rundt.
Helt rundt om.
The concern I think they're feeling is if they happen to bounce off again, there would be a double there. And it would be for several points.
Still, where else you can really put it, though, Linda?
Randy Furby and the Canadian men are back on the ice this evening for their second game of the day. The 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. They'll go against Switzerland and Ralph Steckley, former world junior champion of '97. Furby a winner over Paul Trulson earlier today to win their second in a row.
I think as opposed to the freeze, what she's trying to do is maybe tuck it around. I'm not sure. She talked about trying to getting around that Yellowstone. It is the shot rock, but you could do that.
Skal bare have den der.
Anywhere on top of it, freezing on top of it would be nice.
Så der er rigelig plads.
Come on!
Okay, så skal I trække den lige så langt I kan.
She definitely needs it into the 8 foot somewhere to try and make Colleen's shot more difficult.
Richardson and DuPont with the brush.
And this is just short.
Ja, det kan den ikke. Okay.
And so Canada will have a draw for a couple.
They'll be tapping that one, Vic. How many do you think this is for, Ray?
Yeah, I think it's 4. We established that it's close. The other 2 are close.
They're close, yeah. Yellowstone on the right-hand side is 3rd shot.
You're
but
right.
It's the other 2 that we're not sure about.
So this is for a
possible 4.
Possible 4.
She's closed the broom, so she'll just be throwing hit weight.
Yep.
Out of her hand, it's picked up by Way and Kelly.
Clean. 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 Whoa, 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 whoa. Good shot. Nice throw.
Very nice one. 2 for sure. 3. Now have a look around the edge of the 12.
Weight too.
The one that Marianne Way up there at around 9 o'clock.
We think it's yellow. This isn't in the picture.
No,
I
that
thought
one's
so when
done.
I first looked. Don't touch the That's off for sure. Don't touch that red rock.
So those two.
Oh, do you want to measure?
3 for sure. You know, they're going to call for the measure.
Yeah.
Do you want to measure? Measure.
They're going to call for a measure. Malena Kraus
Nice throw.
saying, bring out the stick, please.
It was pretty.
When you think about it, you go back to the last 10.
And you didn't fall on it.
A mistake by Canada and Colleen. They jump all over it for a 3 spot. Here, she comes up light with the draw of the corner. Canada jumps on it for 3 and possibly 4.
I guess the difference, Vic, and it's so hard for us because we don't want to sound so critical, but that rock that Dorte threw had to be somewhere in the 8-foot. Even the 12-foot would take away the possibility of this one counting. She just was so far light. This game has been so back and forth, unbelievable.
So from the Canadian stone now all the way around.
By a mile indeed. Marianne, but your eyes never fail you, do they?
Points at the yellow, so that's 4 for Canada.
I thought she might have been playing a little too dangerous, even all the little ones down. Right. Especially when I threw them so nice. You got dicks.
That's right. See, that's why when you throw.
She's a 5-time Canadian women's champion. Colleen Jones is here in Winnipeg looking for a 2nd World Championship. Let's take a look at all the scores now. Look at the Russians, steal in 6, steal in 7. So they're tied now with Scotland, 4-4 as they play in the 8th. A 3 and then a 4 for Canada, 8-5. Colleen Jones leads. Japan has tied it with the U.S. 4-4 as they go to the 8th. The U.S. with the hammer. Switzerland, Norway, the blank means that Norway, Dorothy Nordby has the hammer in the 8th, leading 4-3. And that's the first final. 6 scored by Sweden. Steal of 6, 13-4 over Italy. First Canadian stone is in, corner goes up, and this is Nancy Delahunt with her 2nd.
Good, Nance.
The player comparisons are brought to you by Nokia, the official wireless phone of the Season of Champions.
Well, both leads playing well, and look at Nancy Delahunt. What kind of numbers she is tossing at us. 95%. Great game and lots of good setup shots. It's actually happened after the leads that the struggles have started, really, for both teams.
I really think the 8 would only be with really quick ice than the 8.
This is the kind of game that you play. You go back to the room and you're sitting around and you're kind of relaxing and you say, what kind of a game was that?
That's what I was saying earlier. It has the strangest feel to it.
Yeah.
There's been
I don't think we played that well.
And yet
we were.
And in one way, it's kind of nice that it's this single game day for these teams. No matter what happens, I don't think either team would be happy with the game so far. And you just have to shrug it off and maybe go have a little dinner and say, well, tomorrow, this is what we're going to do.
Good throw, Marianne. You're right up.
Well, those numbers are a little surprise to me because I thought we would see bigger discrepancies, especially we've seen some rollouts on hits and draws come light. So the fact that they're in the 70% range for 2 seconds is a little surprise to me. I guess what's happened so far in this game is the mistakes have seemed so extreme, like somebody's been so light that the one mistake seems to magnify itself, and they have made some good shots otherwise. Good call this end by Dorte Holm. She's got her corner guards up, and that's the out-turn tap on the Canadian stones. Freeze up to it, move them around a little bit.
Yes!
Denise DuPont.
Hold da op, den vælter.
Det er fint nok.
Were you, did you hear Ray's comment about our ages last night when we referred to Denise DuPont?
I don't think it's necessary you bring that up
I
again
missed
today,
that,
Vic.
and yeah, we should maybe drop that.
Yep.
Age is one thing that we should leave out of this telecast. I think it's something that we...
Right up.
Something to do with birthdays, though, Linda.
Perfect. Still going.
No, had nothing to do with that.
You didn't cheer them on?
No, 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 nothing to do with it. The rivers weren't even there then.
Yes. Yep.
You have to move these out of the way now. Those yellow stones are blocking the path to get at the 4-foot. You can try and hit and sit in front of the others.
That rock backed up, Vic.
It did.
It was the backup shot that you're so fond of. It unfortunately backed right through the garage door.
That's right.
I like it.
Didn't have the brakes. Denmark has the hammer here in
I
8.
still like the peel.
I don't think I'd be fooling around with this.
They still have to deal with this. If we pump this back and put it on an angle and they freeze at us. It might complicate it if we have to move them around.
And those are not numbers that
can
either
freeze
third would
her
be
back
happy
one
with.
now.
I
That's
mentioned
right,
them.
that's
Arlene
true.
has had struggles so far. Kim Kelly,
I don't mind the bump.
she came into this at 87%, the top third. That would not be a number she would be happy with at all.
Yeah, but it's only for 2.
And for Marlena, boy, you saw
Even
that
a
drop
straight
percentage.
freeze, Kim.
Very low.
Yeah. Even a straight freeze.
Playing the bump. You heard the call from Colleen.
Side of
You
me.
can just
58.
freeze to the face if you wish as well.
Kim
Top
Kelly.
12. Top 12 there. Just make sure because she's way out. Yep, we'll go come around. Yep. Hurry.
Change of plan now?
Hurry.
Or were they playing this come around all the time?
No, they were
Right
playing
up,
the
right up.
tap back or freeze.
Good shot,
This
Kim.
works
Like
out pretty
that.
well. Very well, actually.
Shot.
I wasn't taking all that.
Du skal vælge at skyde.
Vi er nødt til at skyde, gør vi ikke?
Hvad?
Vi er ikke nødt til at...
Ja. Det er on.
You know, I hate to say anything else because I feel like I'm sounding so critical, but the
Knee.
corner guards are so wide now that you have to roll so far to get behind them, and they're also so long that they're not usable. If the Denmark stone was closer to the house and a little tighter to the 4-foot line, you might be able to tap it or get behind it. That's just something, when we get to 4 rock roll, it's really important not to lose those corner guards and actually be feeling like you're not throwing 8 rocks, you're throwing 7 or even 6 because they're not useful stones.
Okay. Just picked it or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty straight there. Firm, Kim. Firm. Think it's pretty straight there. What? Think it's pretty straight there? No? Go move. Okay. Firm. Yep. Whoa. Oh, no. 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 Oh, Marion.
Up weight, run straight.
We're going to take her back
You
one.
can see the center line had never moved off that line.
Well, now you see it's funny because Kim Kelly asked about that.
She just
Well,
poked it back. She must have known she was...
I think it was maybe a release problem, though, Vic. I think it would have curled a little bit. It was big weight, mind you.
Live look, USA, Japan. From that angle, it looks like the U.S. is lying 1 back 8 foot. So this is a draw for 2 for the American champions out of Madison, Wisconsin, and Debbie McCormick.
Nej, det skal ikke røre den. I må ikke røre den.
It's a big point for the
Wow!
young U.S. skip.
Retning, god retning.
Yep. Yep. Good touch.
6-4, the U.S. will lead it through 8.
Denmark with a nice tap to sit 2. So trying to get the points back. Well, this has been the strange one. You look at Dorte Holm and her draws, 38%.
Okay, let's make sure we
And they've been
stick it even a
quite
little roll
short,
so that
not
if she
just
goes
a
back
little
to
bit
that
short,
area to
quite
freeze
short.
over
And it's
there.
just not sure what's happening because you look at her hits, 80%. She's
You know,
technically
turn
a
head,
very
little
sound
bounce,
thrower.
just to try to get. I wouldn't mind a little roll because I don't want her to freeze to that back red one again. No, your way.
When you see a discrepancy like that, Linda, such a huge discrepancy like that, you really wonder about the
Whoa,
stone
whoa, whoa,
itself.
whoa, whoa.
I mean, that's in fairness to her,
Whoa.
because
We're just
that's really
Yep,
It's so
yep,
dramatic.
Not hard.
unbelievable.
Yep.
So we don't
Way over. Yep.
We don't get a
yep,
chance to
yep,
throw the
yep,
stones.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
That's not really a pretty thing anyway, but but I mean it's that's a big difference. So you really have to wonder about that red stone, one of those red stones.
Here we go. Who's shot here around the edge of the 8?
Oh, good throw. Okay.
I'll say red.
Men vi får bare ikke.
I'll agree with you.
Good for you, Linda. You jumping right in
See,
there.
vi bliver ikke
Yeah,
skåret
it looks
af
like
den
red to
Nej,
me.
nej, du skal ikke helt derud, men jeg synes, at vi skal lægge den herovre. Du er altså ikke lige på 10, ikke?
Eighth end, Norway and Switzerland. Final stone on its way from Dorte Nordby
Fin retning. Stik rundt om.
against Switzerland and Nicole Strauzak.
Fin retning, bare fart. Kjemperetning. Må ikke være for mye rygg på, da.
Bumped it back far enough. It'll sit in time for 2. So Norway picks up the deuce in 8 and has a 6-3 lead.
fancy omgang. Og det var en 8.
A very nice shot by Dorte. That wasn't a lot of button that she saw.
Actually, the Corman, I watched that a little bit of that in. No, I shouldn't be doing that. But there was a couple of great shots in that end. Doherty's first shot was a wonderful shot.
Ja. Skal bare ned på 10.
And here, Dorte Holm trying to spread out the stones, not set up a double or a hit and roll.
Wow, ingenting.
Sikker 10, sikker 10.
Men det er fordi, de ikke kan ramme over på vores den anden. Godt se, Pia.
I don't know why they didn't brush that back
Bare ikke have
further.
den for langt op, så hun kan lave den der.
Nej, det er det. Hun sagde det også. Watch the roll.
Ja?
Hun sagde det også. Watch the roll. Se rullet.
Colleen Jones in Canada leading 8-5 after the 7th.
Det så lidt, det betyder
Colleen
nogle gange, ikke? Altså,
in the
instinkten,
World
så
Championships is
gør det så
20
meget
wins
sværere.
and no losses when she's leading after 7.
20-0, right?
And watch that big curl.
They're very good at the end of the game. That's an interesting stat that just shows how determined they get as the game closes.
I'll tell you another reason why that's an
No, I just
interesting
saw it on my
stat.
last one, Kim. Yeah.
Just think of the number of games, because she skips to keep games close.
Very
so
close.
She's winning those games, as you say, in the last couple ends, and they're usually by 1-point games or tied games. So that's an amazing stat. Colleen very seldom has that big 6 or 7 point lead. This is a big lead for her because she doesn't play aggressively in the sense, so she skips to keep most games close because she's so confident she can finish them.
Final stone for Jones. Here they go. Kelly, Marianne Wade. Now jump it across. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little more. And she'll sit on the edge of the 4, but the chance is there for a couple.
That's a big break for Denmark. They didn't brush skips first rock, and it left the chance for Colleen to get the roll over there, and she was so close to getting tucked behind.
Well, is it
Just needed to curl a fraction more.
This just curls a wee bit more. She rolls right in behind. And as Linda said, if you had swept the Danish stone back a little further and lined them up across from each other, there's no such thing. And you know, with the lead, that Colleen is not going to be playing a freeze. So the tee line isn't a factor.
So a chance to get within
Whoa.
one here.
Whoa.
The Danes
Whoa.
can
Whoa.
pick up
Whoa.
2.
Whoa, den kan whoa.
Dorte Holm
Ingenting. Kommer fint. Godt, Dawn.
will sit there for 1 for sure. You see Nancy Delahunt now has a look.
Take that. 2.
And we'll confirm it is 2 for Denmark here in the 8th.
Godt spændende.
Canada has the lead. We'll have the hammer as well. Women's play here at the Ford Worlds in Winnipeg. Russia and Scotland as they play in the 8th. And the Russians have come back to tie it 4-4. Steal of 1 and 6. 1 and 7. The Scots actually led this 3-0 through 2. Final stone on its way by Edith Loudon from Perth, playing Olga Yarkova from Moscow. Look to make the double and not enough weight. And Russia will steal 1 more. And they've stolen their way in front, 5-4. Playing in the 8th, Japan with the hammer and down by 2 to the U.S. Norway with their deuce up by 3 over the Swiss as they play in the 9th. And we had one final. Sweden with the steal of 6. That's the first ever stolen 6-ender in women's play since 1979.
That's all I'm looking for.
There have been 10 stolen 5s. But that's the first stolen 6.
Yep. Great shot, Nat.
And the highest scoring end has been a 7, done twice. 1999, Elizabeth Gustafsson, 4-time world champion, scored 7 against Denmark. And in last year, Dorothy Nordby scored 7 against Korea.
But if you want to talk about scores, this one has been so back and forth. A deuce by Denmark gets them within 1, and we all know about the 4-rock rule and the opportunity to get guards out in front and go for the steal.
Does not look like that. Or did she call it out front? Yes, it was.
I like this call. I know Canada, I can hear the murmurs. She's calling another guard out front. Yes, she is. She's going for the steal.
Same weight.
Nej, det er samme.
Lots of room. Line fine, weight only. Tons of room.
Whoa. Looks like lots of weight. Okay, now. Yep.
Nancy Delahunt.
Hurry. Two great shots, Nance. Way to go.
I would think that he might be from the Halifax area, do you think?
I would think so.
You think, eh? With the Southwester?
No blue nose, though.
No. Just a reminder, Sports Center. Corey Warren has the next edition, 6 Eastern Time, 3 Pacific.
The commitment for sure is to steal. She threw up the second guard. Now to get a rock frozen on an angle that you can maybe move up later on. Run something back onto it.
The only difficulty with the two guards is they are a little long. I would have liked them a bit tighter, but you're right, Ray. They're just going for it. Get something in there. This looks like a nice shot.
Denise Dupont right down on the face.
That's a great shot.
I don't know. I think we peel. Or that. That's a good shot, too. Yeah, I like that, too.
You have that sinking feeling that when you start, I know you feel the same way, Linda, when you have last rock and you're guarding and you're playing with your second stones, and all of a sudden they make a big run back on you, and your guard is the one you wish you didn't have there.
It's exactly true.
Room. We're in. Lots of room.
It's kind of somewhere. Yeah. Sit.
Everything
Okay,
is somewhere.
Marianne.
That's not so
I
bad.
don't know if I like that or not, Kim.
Well, it can be used by Denmark. It all depends if they want to do it now, how much they can see, and if they want to rearrange those shots this early.
That's over on your side there, Victor. How much can she see of that?
It looks maybe a third of the stone.
Third of it?
Det ved jeg ikke. Jo, de synes også, pas på,
There's a look at it.
Deciding to play the run back.
Your thought being, Linda, if you crack that one, which is just see the third, you rearrange the red, goes into those two yellows, and maybe move them around?
You'll definitely get rid of the one, and your shooter would roll away, so that wouldn't be useful. That's the only problem.
Wow, Lisa. 10-2'eren også. 10-2'eren, kan det ikke være rigtigt, hva'?
It is getting very interesting. The other reason you didn't want to play the yellow-red, of course, is what I was saying, the timing of when to do it, because right now, Colleen doesn't like that red stone being nestled right in front of her shot rock.
And it's on a nice angle too, Linda. Let's get to that stone whether with a run back or a straight hit. You could move a lot of stones around.
Full 12. Full 12. Halfway. It's a guard.
Okay, well then.
Can we come and block the straight back on that one?
We're up. Whoa.
Okay, that works, Marianne.
Good.
Moving that
What a
red
walk
stone
there.
over, now you
Great
can
throw,
see
Marianne.
even less of the
Definitely
yellow
waiting.
stone.
Well, I got a little fortunate on the rub because it's also guarding the yellow stone that is second shot. Looked like it might over curl for a moment.
Live look, Switzerland and Norway. Dorothy Nordby, the leader there, 6'3", as they play in the 8th. Final stone for the Swiss, thrown by Selina Brodieu.
Oh!
Bouncy off twist.
Draw for 2. Appear to be shot right now, back edge of the 8.
Okay. Yeah, who's shot now?
Come on.
You can see Hannah Woods having a look. Second time they've done this, they
Early side, yeah.
haven't really been definitive in their calls. Now they're going to call for a measure. So we'll update you when we know.
It's 4:23, 22 and a half.
Canada sitting 2 in this particular situation, but shot stone is open.
Hack. Yep. Hard. Hurry hard. Hard. Whoa. Whoa.
Kim Kelly.
Whoa.
Go hard on the red. 3. Nice shot.
Nice
Kim.
shot, very nice. And look at that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Canada lying here in 9. And they have the hammer.
Still not a bad position, although it's a nice shot by Kim. Exactly what they wanted to do is get rid of that red stone. But if you look at where the shooter ends up, you'll see that there is still the guard out in front. Now look where the shooter pushes the one back. So there's still a possibility for Denmark to get into that pocket. And remember, Denmark is going all out here. She's taking the chance, hoping to be able to get a steal or at least just force a single at worst.
So come down to the face of that stone, just back of the back floor there, the back of the edge of the button.
She's actually playing the tap and roll bit.
Yep.
Malene Kraus.
Yes.
Ja!
Through the hole.
Får vi den anden vej her?
And will sit right there.
Just brushing again, Linda. You have to, call those a little better. If you brush that hard all the way, you're going to hold it a bit and get the roll in front. Is what she was playing. Just it seems to be just no communication between the one end and the other. I mean, if you watch Randy Ferguson, for example, and even not even, but Colleen's team as well, they communicate back and forth, and there just seems to be no communication on the Danish team. And that communication is such a huge part of this sport, especially when rocks are in play. And if we're going to go to the 4-rock rule, and this is the 4-rock rule,
She didn't draw last time.
we see so many rocks in play. I mean, you have to communicate. You have one end has to know what's happening with that stone, where the weight is, and
It's truly a conversation the whole way down the ice. There's a chance here just to draw wide side around that front stone and sit on the back one. It'll be difficult for Colleen then.
that's another area where the game has changed big time, Vic. You're just no longer on the front ends, it's just hired guns, with big brooms, and they have to come with that full package, and their full package includes your ability to judge the weight, to communicate, from one end to the other. So.
These shots just surprised me a little, only because you put out the guard saying, we're going for it this end, and now she's hitting a rock and she needs a perfect roll. It's not the wrong shot, but you're going to need a perfect roll to get into the spot.
Updating you on Switzerland and Norway, and the Swiss did get 2 on the measure, so Norway leads. Dorte Nordby has the hammer coming home.
Oh!
Yes!
Oh, ja! Ja! Wow! Ej, den er jo ikke hurtig.
Yep!
Wow!
I don't know if it's because Dorte is struggling with her draw weight that she opted for that hit. I just thought the come around looked so much easier.
Yeah.
It's good.
Det var også det, jeg var lidt bange for, ikke?
Right the four to prevent the come around.
Pretty frustrated look,
Jeg tror, det
isn't
var
it?
den rigtige sten at spille. Men man havde altså haft mange muligheder, hvis den havde ligget der foran.
Jamen også selvom de var kommet ned på, ikke, så kunne hun bare have dyttet den en lille smule ned på.
Line's good. Line's great. Yep. Whoa. Line's perfect. Yep. Just top 8, guys.
way.
Yeah, 4 foot. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Buried
shot, Colin.
and 4 foot.
It's really hard to understand because one thing that they have had no problem with is draw weight. And it seems to me that the Danes have really struggled with that.
I guess you can't block
And
both.
this is the hard, this
Swing
is
and
the
turn.
swinger, yeah, but not an easy hole. Why that?
Kan vi komme ind der? Det er lidt svært, ikke? Er ikke helt plads? Så vil den falde over i den der.
Jo, fordi hun går rimelig tynd forbi, ikke?
Hvad har vi så af muligheder?
Jeg bruger nogle af de røde til noget deroppe.
Siger du?
Så jeg vil heller ikke bruge de røde deroppe til noget.
Men du kan ikke gemme dig her.
Nej.
Rigtig vel? Den er for langt ude, så gang.
The shotting I was talking about before was the out-turn come around to the back stone, the yellow one in the back of the 4 foot. That's made much tougher by the positioning of Colleen's last draw, top 4
Det
foot.
hvad fanden vi skal gøre.
So they're deciding which way to try and get into the button area, whether to try and take the path Colleen took, which is really tough because once it starts going, it really starts moving.
I'm not sure you can get there.
I'm not either.
I don't think you can get there.
What about with the other turn and come to the back stone?
Well, that's the one I was just referring to, Vic. I would have played it with my last shot. It's still there, but both of them are difficult because of the swing.
Well, the thing is, you're just going to have to miss this stone here, and then I think it's going to overcurl.
And with the other turn?
With the other turn,
Coming to the back stone, back 4. Could you get there?
well, you got to cease a little bit, Vic. I mean, you have to come. You're trying to. What you're saying is kind of trying to angle it on there.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
But definitely
you
was
haven't
there.
got a lot of room.
No, definitely the last time, Vic, when there wasn't that other rock there, that was definitely the way to come at it. So now it's just really tough. Look at the lineup of those yellow stones. It's in a perfect spot.
Hun gik jo snortynd forbi den guard før. Altså den venstre guard, ikke? Så det skal jeg også. Så den bliver spillet lige en halv meter hurtigere, ikke? Jeg ved ikke, hvad jeg ellers skal gøre.
It's not a bad looking port if you just look at it as a port, but then you factor in the amount of curl, and that's what makes it so tough.
And you're just going to have to miss the outside one. Just feather by the far one, the outside one, and hope it doesn't overcurl on you if you're going to try and get to the face of the back one. I'm not sure it's there. Once it starts to break, it holds for a while out here, but
Final stone for Denmark. Facing 4 here. Canada does have the hammer, the lead as well.
Ja, men I må ikke nu. I må ingenting.
she's got the right angle here, but it's going to have to.
Richardson, DuPont, trying to find the hole. Now has it got the weight? Take it down as far as they can.
Well, the shot wasn't there then, Vic.
So it's Canada lying 2 now.
I think you've got this on the out-turn side. Because it's fairly straight.
Ja, måske et gram, men den ligger jo halvt på den anden der, så det tror jeg sgu heller ikke, det kunne lade sig gøre. Det må jeg sige.
Tror du, det kunne komme rundt den anden vej? Det tror jeg heller ikke.
Det tror jeg heller ikke.
Nej. Not as much of the 4 foot. And if it ever did sort of overcurl too much,
how can you grab a
Colleen,
piece of
you'd
the
have
4?
Oh no, you'd never get to that. Okay.
You go that way. And looks like she's going to go this way.
Now, in hindsight, could you, if you were Dorothy Holm, have played that turn and come that way to put the stone edge of the 4?
It is a smidge, isn't it?
Or was that the only thing she could do is play that one turn?
It was just that her rock would then be more open, Vic, so she was looking for some shelter. I just feel when you put the rocks out in front and you say you're going to steal, I'm one of those that say, well, probably for the most part of the end, you're not going to hit. And she hit on third and Skip's first stone.
She hit 3 rocks in a row, actually.
Hair left, Nance.
So a chance here for Colleen Jones and the Canadians to maybe close out the Danes if they can pick up 3. They have 2 right now.
Yep, hard. Gotta go hard. Hard, hard, hard.
Whoa, whoa.
No, we're on the front here.
And it'll
shy, eh?
crash
Okay.
on the
2.
corner guard. It is 2 for sure. And the Canadians will lead it 10-7 over
Nice
Denmark,
moves, guys.
going to 10, trying to win their 3rd in a row here on this
Very good.
2nd day of the Ford Worlds in Winnipeg.
2 yellow, yep.
The 2003 Ford World Curling Championships from Winnipeg, Manitoba are brought to you in part by Robaxaset, helping you walk away from back pain.
Just top 4.
So Canada with a
Easy.
3-point lead.
Easy.
Denmark has the
Okay, go.
hammer. As we play in 10, Canadians
Good,
looking to win their
Nance,
3rd in a
nice
row. Lisa Richardson, and shaking her head on the release. Did it catch something? Does she think it's heavy?
Nej, vi rører den heller ikke. Den er lang.
Den er da lang.
Den er lidt for lang.
And it's heavy.
Yep, hard.
This hurts.
Clean. Whoa.
To have any chance, you got to get that corner
Yep.
guard up.
Good, Nance.
7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Randy Furby and the Canadian men's champions out of the Avon Curling Club in Edmonton are on the ice against Switzerland and the former world junior champion Ralph Steckley. 7 Eastern. That'll be draw 3 for the men. Canadians off to a quick start, winning their first 2.
You have to like both of the Swiss teams. So far, they've played pretty well, and it looks like that year of preparation, Vic, has done them a lot of good. They declare the Swiss teams a year in advance, and they may not win every game, but they seem to be really into it and they're executing pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. And I heard Randy Furby talk this morning about Ralph Steckley, about the fact that this is a good team. I've played them before, and they seem well prepared. So we should have an excellent game tonight.
Hard. Hurry.
Ralph's going to have to come with his best, of course. He knows that. He's playing a team that last lost in 1987, I think.
Denise DuPont.
Så ikke vi behøver at fejre så meget.
Well, it's over between Switzerland and Norway, and Doherty Nordby wins at 9-5 the final. So that's Switzerland's first loss. They go to 2-1, and Norway now 2-1.
Whoa, whoa. Yep. Nice shot. Good.
In the women's field, you still have to think that Norway are real contenders. The only thing about Doherty Nordby is it's not always the same one that shows up every game. She's a very talented thrower and a very good person about the strategy. But Ray, just the end of the week, you know she's going to be there and playing well. But during round robin play, it seems to be a little up and down for someone like her.
She's a little more intense this year than the past years, and we talked about that yesterday, but you're right. She's another team that can get beat up badly, because when she is down, she knows how to play.
Kim Kelly.
Whoa. Whoa. Clean. Throw, Kim.
Good peels by the Canadian women.
It's amazing how much that moves there with Peel. Yeah.
So now coming down on top,
It's difficult, Vic, when you're down this many points and the corner guards have not remained intact, so you have to try and use the rocks in the house.
Yep. Yes. Yep. Yes.
Ej, det ser langsomt ud.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Helt derned.
Yep. Retning, yes. Yep. Come on. Lidt til. Okay.
Det var det.
Elena Kraus. Women will play 2 games on Monday. It starts bright and early for Team Canada as they go against Switzerland, just coming off the ice, losing to Norway 9-5. And then in their evening game, they will play the Italians.
Yep. Whoa.
So Switzerland and Italy for Canada and the
Nice.
team of Colleen Jones on Monday. Denmark down to 3 stones. It's got to make them all count now.
Yep. Love it.
It was a nice try, but that little tap means Colleen can remove this rock.
Colleen just taking her time as she always does. Lets the crowd settle down a little bit. Has a chance to run Denmark out of stones here, leading 10-7.
Clean. Yep. No. Whoa. Whoa.
Kelly and way back right off.
Yep. No. Yep. No.
Little Pickens here. There they go.
Nice game. Thank you.
And those 3 points will go on Canada's side of the board, so it goes into the book as a 13-7 win for Canada. That's one rule I choose. I'll tell you what. If you're going to put the rule books together, change that one.
I agree.
Why would you count it? They didn't finish the end, but they do in the world. So 13-7.
Hi, bye, everybody.
It's over as well between Russia and Scotland, and the Russians will score 2 in 10, 7-6. They're 1 and 2. Scotland and Edith Loudon now 0 and 3. And Japan steals 1 in 10. They win it 7-6 over the U.S. Oh my, what a day.
The 2003 Ford World Curling Championships from Winnipeg, Manitoba are brought to you by Karcher. You'll look for things to clean. By Nokia, official wireless phone of the Season of Champions. And by Ford, built for life in Canada.
So with the win, Colleen Jones and Canada, the only undefeated team through 3 draws with 3 straight wins. There's a bunch now, though, at 2-1. And then as we look at the other side of the ledger, it's 2 teams, Denmark and Scotland, 2 still winless.
Hi, I'm Marcel Rock. Watch us tonight on TSN.
7 Eastern time we'll be watching, 4 Pacific, when Randy Ferbey and Canada play Switzerland in the 3rd draw of men's play. Stay with us. Sports Center is coming up. The Canadian women win their 3rd in a row here at the Ford Worlds on TSN, Canada's sports leader.